we'll keep an eye on the draft rumors and stuff
Mm-hmm.
when that time comes around. That's like my favorite time of year of football talk, honestly, draft. But our other team, my team on the other side of the river, the state, the Birds. We didn't talk about Kellen Moore,
Yeah, go ahead.
shall we?
Go ahead.
I have a little bit to say on it, but I'm actually curious what you think on it. If you have any thoughts on it.
I have
Um,
I have zero thoughts.
okay, well, now, my thoughts then. This will just be a. I always have a hard time thinking if I'm biased, especially when it comes to this specific hire, since it's a former Cowboy. Eagles hire Kellen Moore, who was the Chargers' offensive coordinator, but also the former offensive coordinator of the Cowboys 2 years ago before he went to, about to say San Diego, L.A. My thoughts on this are, why do we keep bringing in Cowboys? Because it never works out. DeMarco Murray, Orlando Scandrick, like the list goes on and on. It just never works out. I don't know why. How is so keen on it. So that's I guess he was a former Cowboy, so it's not the same. But my biggest qualm with him when he was a Cowboy, I actually loved it because he was so goddamn predictable. So predictable. And you have to wonder how much of that was him in LA and how much of that was Staley. His numbers were all right in LA. Like, Chargers offense was good, especially they dealt with a lot of injuries. But the predictability thing is just sticking in my head, and it worries me, that and the fact he's a former Cowboy. But on the bright side, the one thing that I've been screaming for on this podcast, especially all season, use motion on offense. The Eagles did none of it. This guy knows how to use motion.
There you go.
He practically, like, he would not. I mean, he would not stop using. I mean, Cowboys still do it, but he like kickstarted that CD Lamb career as like he not Kellen Moore helped CD Lamb become like who he is. He's obviously still doing his thing, but so I'm excited for that from a Devontae Smith standpoint, a Jalen Hurts standpoint, and like he's got the talent. He's got the talent. And also, apparently Nick isn't going to be involved in the offense anymore. So
You feel
that
good
helped.
about that?
Yeah, I don't think he has a clue what he's doing. I mean, it was like half Brian Johnson this year and half Nick. Which, another thing, speaking of that, did you see AJ and Smitty were on Kay Adams's show
I didn't.
yesterday?
What were they chatting about?
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw. I'm kind of Eagles out, but I did. I like saw a couple clips, and it was interesting on how they were asked. She asked him about like everything, honestly, like the coaching change and what was up with the offense this year. And she was like, what are you most excited about with this, the new hire, and like what do you want him to know? And he's like, just let us go out and do our thing. That's like all he said. He's like, just let us be dogs. And AJ was just sitting there like smirking and laughing. Like, you can just tell that they're excited for like a change, and maybe it'll be a little different, that they can, like I said, Moore uses a lot of motion, a lot of complex route trees, which I love to. I showed a couple of those on here this time. I'm gonna see if I can find the one. There was one Keenan Allen's this year.
You can share your screen now and show us, Zach.
Oh yeah, I can, but it's on my phone. I wasn't well prepared for this.
I have a couple thoughts now that you were chatting.
Let it rip. I'm gonna try see if I can find this route tree, 'cause it's beautiful.
As far as the Birds, with what you just said to me, I'll have to watch it and draw my own opinion. But what I just heard about what Smitty and Brown were saying, it almost is like the fact is like, just let us do our thing. Because I feel like there's a lot of struggles of, I didn't think Jalen Hurts looked like Jalen Hurts, almost maybe pigeonholing him. Maybe they Eagles were like, no, you have to run this play. Maybe Jalen wanted to call an audible. They're like, no, 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 call this. And maybe that's just the wide receivers just saying yo, we know what it takes. We got the skill. Put us in good formations. But if my quarterback, who you pay $250 million to, wants to make this big play because he sees something, let him make it. And I don't know. That's what that just screams to me off the top
Yeah,
of my head. But another thought I had was for the Cowboys, it makes a lot of sense that they wanted to keep Mike McCarthy because they don't want to replace their whole coaching staff.
definitely.
Because you keep Mike McCarthy, you keep your locker room because you got head coach. But I don't know, because I was thinking Mike McCarthy was going to get fired, and then Bill Belichick was going to come. But it honestly makes more sense that both those coordinators dip. I mean, very successful season. I'm not saying that these guys don't deserve their jobs or anything, but it is still the Cowboys. But it makes a lot of sense that McCarthy stayed. Coordinators leave. Now you got to bring in new guys. But I don't know. Those are the two thoughts
Definitely.
that I had as you gave me your breakdown.
I found it.
Bang.
It's immaculate and might be the single only thing that is making me excited about this hire. Focus. Oh yeah, look at that.
That's Keenan.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
look
is.
at that right there.
Yeah, that's nice.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah, I don't see a lot of go routes there. That was kind of what the birds were loving. I
There's
see a lot of slants and
some slants, some
misdirections and
drags, some big
drags and
curls, some
picks and
comebacks.
curls. I see a lot of that.
You know, I'll shout out
That's
the
called
backfield.
variety, baby.
There's a deep post. There's a little post. There's a little corner post. A little snake.
That shit's
Maybe
looking like my meal prep, bro. You got a little bit of everything in there.
yeah, baby. Oh man, it's sexy, and I hope that's what I hope he brings here, not the predictable Kellen Moore with the Cowboys. Talk about learning stuff along the way. I hope he has learned stuff. He's a young guy. I think he can, you know, contort his beliefs more than a guy like Dan Quinn. But maybe that's just me being biased. But I, it's not the worst. It's not the worst. And I'm willing to hear it out and watch it out. I'm gonna be forced to anyways, but I'll be semi excited about what he's gonna bring to the table.
I'll be full excitement by the time the draft comes. And after your draft, you're going to be all about it. You're going to be wishing August comes quick.
Free agent. That season just left such a bad taste in my mouth. I want nothing to do with football because of this season. So yeah, I am after draft. Yeah, that you're right. You're 100% right about that.
That's tough.